The weather now, are we? That's for later.
No, we're doing that later. Yeah. All right, welcome back. Rustling of Papers, episode 75. I'm Pete Brooker. This is the There Will Be Bond podcast. That's Rob Smith over there. How are we doing today, Rob?
Hello. Very well, thank you very much.
Okay, so recording this on March the 4th. It's a Tuesday. These things are important to note these days in case news breaks all of a sudden, right? Which happened whilst we were away.
It did indeed.
But just maybe a bit of a state of the union for people going forward. We're going to record minutes 87 and 88 of Casino right now. And we're going to cover that. We'll do a little bit of Bond news from the Oscars. There was a segment that there was like a montage, wasn't there?
There was.
Yeah,
a bit of a controversial montage.
So we'll have a look at that real quick. But a little announcement to make. We've been flirting with the idea for some time of doing a patron show and putting Rob's weather news behind a paywall. And so we're gonna make that a thing. We're gonna record this episode and then we're just gonna talk weather and what else have we got?
Just shit. Just me talking shit.
No,
you
don't
have to pay
say
for that.
Don't say that. God, there really is shit, isn't there? Well, we also have Fraser with us. We've actually got a live audience today.
Fraser Lockley, our good friend from Leicester.
If I had another mic, we could actually talk to him. But we'll bring Fraser in for the patron show as well. So again, another great reason to subscribe. But that's all to do later. Well, Rob, in the meantime, have you been up to anything Bondian?
You know I dread this question, Pete. You know what my life is like. Well, we both have, haven't we? Just before you went away again on your adventures again, we both did something Bondian, didn't we? We went to the Spy Bar.
Yes, we did. So for people that don't know the Spy Bar, it's now a Raffles Hotel, right?
Yeah.
Which used to be the old War Office.
Yes.
More or less opposite Downing Street.
On Whitehall, yes.
And we met up there. We had AJ Chowdhury with us.
Yes.
And
Andrew Muscat.
Who booked the table.
It was his idea initially. Yes.
Which was great. So we had
Yes.
a little Bond meetup. The bar is quite special because you can't take any photos of this bar. And it's a speakeasy really, isn't it?
I suppose it is really, yeah. It's hidden away. It's very secret.
Yeah, so you go downstairs, you get lost, you have to ask about 10 people where you're going. I actually went to the wrong party. I went to a fancy dress party and I was about to order a drink, but I thought, I don't think
This always seems to happen to you.
Yeah,
you went to the wrong party before, didn't you? You went to a wake.
Yeah, instead of my wedding, I went to a wake.
Yeah.
So anyway, found the right party in the end. We weren't allowed to take any photos, but what the main feature of this bar is, for people that have been there will know, there's a DB5 that's elongated over the drink section and it's kind of cut in half, but you have the full length of it but cut in half, and it's spectacular, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
I had seen one picture of it before on Instagram or something.
Oh, really?
Which I think was an official picture from the bar, because then, as you say, no one's allowed to take photographs. So I sort of knew what to expect, but I was a bit like, is it going to be a scaled down? Is it going to be a model?
It's going to be like the matchbook size.
Yeah, and there it was. It's a full size DB5, literally cut in two, which did upset me a little bit, seeing a DB5 cut in two. But I imagine it's one that was rotten or being restored or whatever, and then they've just they haven't taken like a £800,000 perfect car and just cut it in two.
Yeah.
But it's very impressive to see, I have to say. But yeah, no, but the Spy Bar is very cool. But it's quite expensive, though, isn't it? But there are
no more expensive than Duke's, Rob.
Correct.
No more expensive than Duke's.
£24 for, was it £25? I can't remember.
Oh, Duke's is 25 for a Vespa.
It was 24. Then it was the same as the 007 bar, so it's £24 for a Vespa Martini,
right?
Which you had, didn't you?
So Duke's is closed down now for renovations.
Really?
I was following views from Mark, and I think the bar might be open, so you can still get ripped off. But if you want to stay there, then you might want to check ahead before you go, because I think they've closed it down for. They're going to give it a lick of paint.
So you've put the flags out then.
Oh, man. So, well, tangentially, Joe Darlington on his podcast announced that he's going to be doing a book launch when he comes to London to tie in with Warren Ringham's Cue the Music show in October.
Right. Yes.
And I've heard it muted that they'll be doing that down Dukes.
It's been mooted. The idea's been mooted. I don't know if it's been confirmed.
Right.
But when he was discussing it with David Zawitsky, Dukes did come up as a possible option.
Right. Okay. Well, I said, look, I'll just hang outside and you can just fucking throw me. You can throw me the book. I'll roll up in a taxi. You throw it through the front door into the taxi.
You're never going to go back in though, are you?
Nope. Well, getting back to the night, what was cool about the night, it's worth mentioning, is that before meeting up with you, AJ and Andrew, I actually had a special mission.
You were on a mission, weren't you?
Yeah.
A James Bond mission.
So David Zawitsky from the Bond Experience sent me a text a couple of weeks ago and just said, hey, when are you next coming to America? And I thought, okay, sounds good. It's going to be an event of some kind. We're going to get together, possibly in Florida, maybe Fontainebleau, whatever. I said, well, as it goes, David, I'm actually going to be there on Friday, so we can meet up. He goes, oh, that's good, because I need you to come and bring something to me. Yeah, I need you to pick something up and post it to me. I think that's what his words were. I said, yeah, sure, whatever it is, it's fine. Turns out that David won an auction on Daniel Craig's suit from No Time to Die.
Yes.
And it's the James Bond suit. So when he comes back to Whitehall, it's that screen
when he abandons the car.
Yeah.
He doesn't park it, he abandons it at the side of the road. It's such shocking parking. The suit he's wearing when he gets out of the car, it's that one, isn't it?
Yeah. Picked up the suit, but I did say to David, look, I'm actually going out on the ale with this suit as well. So I've got to go get the suit, and then I've got to go meet Rob and AJ, and we're going to go have cocktails and then beers afterwards. So I gave him a little bit of a warning.
Yeah, don't fucking spill beer all over.
Yeah. Yeah, or walk around London with a 20 grand suit in your bag.
And just get drunk and leave it on the tube. So
meet up with you, and we all look at the suit, and we touch it and smell it. All sorts, but that was about the extent of it. We then zipped it back up, and that was it, and we enjoyed our night. Now, after the Spy Bar, we then go to the Red Lion, which is just by Westminster.
Yes, the political pub.
Yeah. And it comes to the end of the night. We say our goodbyes. I don't know if you were there for this. I can't remember.
No, I left before.
You were already gone, right?
AJ.
So it was just AJ and me. I said, AJ, I'm gonna head off now, mate. I've got to see you later. He goes, Pete, you got the suit on you, right? I go, yeah, thanks for reminding me. He goes, you know that scene where he wore the suit is just around the corner.
Oh, no.
I said, oh, yeah, it is.
You didn't put it on
right
and
around the corner.
It's
just like 11:15 at night. I'm thinking, oh, God, that would be so cool. And then we could send the photos to David. I'm sure he would love that if I could just squeeze into the suit and go around the corner and fucking... AJ was adamant that we should do this, by the way. Adamant.
Yeah, he had a few beers though, hadn't he?
Well, we all had. and some pretty strong cocktails.
Yeah.
But common sense prevailed.
Yes.
Sadly.
Oh, that would have been cool, wouldn't it? I don't think David would have been too happy.
Yeah, I had to talk AJ off the ledge on that. He was going, come on, you can just get in that suit, go to the toilet, get in the gents now, and we'll rock round and we'll get the photos.
We'll send them to David. Look.
Yeah. Just walk around London in a 20 grand suit. Well, anywho, that was that. That was a pretty special ending.
It was a good night. Yeah. I do recommend people go there. But yeah, book in advance. I think you have to email the Old War Office, Raffles Hotel. Just go on the website and email them because the Spy Bar, it's quite secret. It's not necessarily advertised on the website, so you need to inquire. Yep. But yeah, you can book a table for a couple of hours. I mean, it wasn't full when we went, was it? A few other people there, but it wasn't packed.
Yeah.
Should be right to get in there.
Yeah.
And I think, we could have stayed longer if we wanted, but we would have had to have spent more money then. And,
yeah.
And there wasn't much in the way of food, so that's why we went to the Red Lion to get some food. But it's a really nice place to go if you want, like, Bond atmosphere and drinks. It's very cool. And they've got, like, a little room out the front, haven't they, where we could take pictures with, like, a miniature M's office, wasn't it? They've got like a coat stand and they've got like old school telephone and typewriter and stuff where Moneypenny would sit. And the room where you go in from the corridor's got a little 007 sign on it, hasn't it? So it's all very cool. And they were playing Bond music in the corridor when we would go down in the lift. They had like bits of From Russia with Love and
so it's all good. Yeah. I think people get the idea. Great. So that was that. Shall we crack on?
Yeah.
With some minutes of Casino Royale.
Mm-hmm.
Where did we leave it, Rob?
Well, we left it on the balcony, didn't we?
That's right. So minute 87 is brought to you by Wilde&Harte. Have you missed the Wilde&Harte sponsors, Rob? The best British razor company in the UK right now. WH20 is the code you can use to get 20% off. I'll leave a link in the show notes. In fact, I went to see Bobby from Matched Perfectly on Instagram. Do you know Bobby Morelli from Matched Perfectly on Instagram?
Vaguely, yes. I know who you mean. I don't think I follow him.
Yeah. Well, I was with him and I was talking about the razors, and he goes, "It's so surreal to hear you talk about the razors with me, because all I hear is like the last 6 years harp on about these fucking razors." And now you're talking about it in my company. Anyway, Bobby, it was lovely meeting up with you. So wildeandharte.co.uk. We left it with Bond and Lashif on the balcony. Leo, the only surviving henchman of Quantum, I believe, has just been arrested by the police. The bodies of Stephen and his henchmen in the boot. We're going to pick it up now. Let's hope this works, and we'll see you on the other side of this.
I'll keep Lashif looking over his shoulder. He'll be wondering who's going to come for him next. How's our girl? Melted your cold heart.
Bond gives him a rueful smile. And now, there's Lashif looking through the blinds. A little blood coming out the eye, dabs it away. God, that must be fucking annoying, doesn't it? Yep. Now we're at the back in the casino. There's Felix.
300 grand.
Oh, 300 grand, Felix. Very casual. Bond calls. And Lashif calls. Gives him the eyes. Bond gives him the eyes. Oh, yeah, there it is. Got it, Rob. Nailed it. Are you impressed, Fraser, how the fudge is packed now?
The sheer professionalism.
Oh, the technology involved in this. Okay, great. Well, Rob, we just saw what is it? Is it the river? It is. No, fifth. Fifth is the river, isn't it? When the last card. Why am I asking you? You don't. You got a fucking clue about poker.
What are you asking me for?
So, okay. So I asked Rob. We're doing a little get together this Friday. We're going to do a screening of A View to a Kill at mine. We'll have some cocktails across the road. We'll make quiche Cabernet.
I can't wait for the quiche Cabernet.
And I said to Rob, we've got to do some Texas Hold'em. I've got the chips. What should we do? £10 buy-in. Nothing too rich. And you're like, I've never played poker in my life. Oh, great.
Do you know what though? He doesn't play poker in that film. There's no casino scene in that film, so
in
it's
what film?
okay.
Oh, in A View to a Kill.
So we can get away with not doing cards.
I don't know. Well, yeah, but there's.
It's not.
You can't get away with
not relevant for that.
Fraser, you know how to play poker? No. Oh wow! What's going on here? No one's living Bond a moment at a time.
Well, anyway,
keep the cat in. Sorry, Fraser. I know she wants to go out, but it's dark, so I'll keep her. Mishka's trying to tunnel her way out. Anywho, so Rob, back to the minutes.
Yeah,
we've just had the river. That was the last screenshot. The river card, which is the fifth card, I believe, has been turned over. What was your takeaways from this minute, Rob?
Well, so we sort of pick it up halfway through where we left it off on the balcony, don't we? And this scene, apparently, almost didn't make it into the film.
Really?
Yeah, this is what they talk about on the commentary. And Michael G. Wilson and Martin Campbell. They said that they were going to keep it in, then they cut it out, then they put it in, then they cut it out. They couldn't decide because they were like, do we really need this?
The card scene or the balcony scene?
The balcony scene.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
And they decided to keep it in because it was a bridge between like day and night. Because then they wanted to have the following scene to make it look like it's the following evening, and they've had a whole day in between, so they had to have something in there. But that balcony, it's like, I didn't mention this on the last minute, and I wanted to mention this. No way could you fit 4 people on that balcony. Do you remember earlier on?
No, that's what I was telling you. When they got ambushed by Stephen.
You don't see that balcony properly earlier on when they're like waiting to ambush him. when they call him upstairs, and she stood out on the balcony. Goes, yes, what is it? And then like,
what is it? And what are them two big motherfuckers
like,
doing right over there?
But they were like hiding, weren't they? They're meant to be hiding. Like 2 of them, which means there would have been 3 people on the balcony before he even got there. So then there were 4 people on the balcony. And when you see it in this scene, there's barely room for Bond and Mathis on that balcony. No way could you fit 4 people on there. So
Been telling you. Thank you. Been telling you.
Yeah.
Been telling you.
So that's bad. So
Bad.
yeah, we'll pull them up on that.
So, well, that's the balcony scene, and Lashif dabs his another sign of his deformity.
What do you think causes that? Do you think it's stress?
It's the derangement of the tear duct, isn't it?
But do you think it's stress that brings it on?
Oh, a bit of stress.
Yeah. I think it might be. He's looking out the window, he's stressed, and he's like, oh,
that's a good
someone
point,
else is going to be coming for me, and then he starts crying.
Well, because he does it
Crying
during
blood.
poker as well, doesn't he?
He's stressed,
Quite a lot.
yeah. I think this is what brings it on.
Bit of stress.
Maybe he's
under the cosh.
Yeah,
isn't he?
I think it might be, you know. What a thing to have to put up with. Poor guy.
So, interestingly, Stuart Baird, the editor, was saying this was a bloody nightmare to edit. To make it interesting, moving on to the poker scene, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
Because now he's like, well, how do we make this interesting? We're hitting the middle section of the film where typically everything slows down, plateaus, and now we're going to just be watching guys play poker. How can you make that interesting? And he basically goes on like, you got to focus on the eyes. Yeah, his eyes.
That's right.
Yeah. But what's interesting is that Felix is in the game as well, but no one's really paying attention to Felix.
But we don't know it's Felix yet.
True, yeah. But still, they're not even clocking Felix. They're just, mono.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But that's more the next minute, isn't it, I think? Really.
Well,
you see more of that in the next minute. That's when it's quite intense in the next minute, all the cutting.
Did I list the cards that came down?
I think you did.
No, I don't think I did. Fucking notes, Rob.
I'm sure
printed
you
out
did,
5 pages of notes.
I've seen them.
All right. Well, listen, it's they put the river down and we'll pick up the hand maybe in the next minute. Anything else from that minute you want to tackle?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it was mainly the number of people on the balcony and what causes the blood. I think we've covered that.
We've squared that one away. All right, let's have a look at some Bond news then, shall we, Rob?
Gentlemen and ladies, hold the presses. This just in.
Rob, news. Well, what are you pointing at?
Getting Fraser to do news.
Well, Fraser's going to be behind the paywall.
I thought that was news.
Well, we can do some more news behind the paywall.
I see.
We had the Oscars.
We did have the Oscars.
You don't mind coming behind the paywall, do you? I don't know if people are going to pay to see that.
Before I agree to anything.
Yeah, sign a waiver for that one. Okay. The Oscars, Rob. Did you get a chance to see it at all?
I did. I didn't stay up to watch it because it's dull as fuck. But I certainly saw the Bond section the next day because we knew it was coming. It was all in the news, wasn't it? That there was going to be some Bond music.
Yeah.
And so there were links sent various groups I'm in the next day. So I watched it with horror. I wasn't impressed, I have to say. I mean, it was pretty poor, wasn't it?
So there were 3 girls that were doing songs: "Live and Let Die," "Diamonds Are Forever," and "Skyfall."
And they did a ballet first, didn't they?
Oh, what, to the theme?
Yeah. There's like a James Bond ballet, which I've never seen before. Them all prancing around, throwing each other around, which I thought was interesting.
It was quite last minute, I've been told.
Yes.
They put this together because they heard that the producers had sold off the rights and blah, all the creative control. Now, my only gripe with this is they've been paid £1 billion. Right, I think I mentioned this over the weekend. They have been paid £1 billion to sign over creative control, and they still have a stake in the company. Right?
That's right. They're still joint owners.
So why do we need to have a song and dance to celebrate them cashing in £1 billion after doing nothing for 5 years? Look, thank you for everything you've done, Barbara and Michael, fantastic. But all of a sudden now we just have to throw petals in their wake.
Yeah, this wouldn't have happened
£1 billion
if they hadn't. I think it's because obviously creative control had been signed over. Therefore, their input is now gone forever. And I think it was to signify that, isn't it? It was like, and that's pretty much representing Bond fans all over the globe, isn't it? A lot of Bond fans have been upset about it. Oh no, this is the death of 007. This is going to be awful. So maybe it was just sort of referencing that and think, oh, maybe we ought
topical,
to do
yeah,
a little bit. But you could tell that montage had just been thrown together quickly because it had bloody Never Say Never Again in there. Here they are thanking Eon for what they've done, and there's a little bit of Sean and Never Say Never Again.
Right. Do you know what that was priceless? I wonder if someone did that knowingly. Yeah,
I doubt it. They just don't know what they're doing. But Babs's face, she clearly wasn't impressed. She was pissed off. You could tell. And then when those three women destroyed the songs, she was even more pissed off.
Okay, so we had one of the girls. What's her name? Doja. I want to say Doja.
Doja Cat.
Who's strangling the Doja Cat?
Oh,
let's see.
God, diamonds are forever.
Let's see. I think I've got a little clip of it here. I wonder if it's the bit that I'm thinking.
That was the worst.
Let's have a look. And she's admitted it as well.
She has.
She's come back and said, like,
she has. She said,
I was really brave. I like it when people call themselves brave.
So if you're not up to it, love, say no.
All right. Okay. Well, look, that's not playing. We'll see if we can get that going at some point.
Well, she basically went off key.
Well,
it was appalling, utterly appalling.
Well, I've never heard. Am I just really old? I've never even heard of these chicks.
No, I've never heard
not a single one of them.
No.
So,
I think Fraser's daughter knew one of them.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So the girls are terrible. The montage was awful, but I do think there was this huge slew of people just ready to hate it anyway. I felt like they were on the front foot to hate this.
I mean, it's good that there was Bond there because it keeps Bond in the public consciousness, doesn't it? Which is great. That is a good thing. So I was pleased about that, and I'm sure you were.
Let's see if I can get this damn thing. All right. Okay.
Oh, God.
Is it this bit?
That's all of it.
I think it's this bit. That bit.
Oh, all of it. I mean, she went off key at the beginning.
Okay,
she was going off key right at the start. I mean, if she's musical,
wait,
she should be able to hear.
No, it's this bit. It's this bit.
Well, that's bad, but it's the beginning as well. She was going off key clearly, and it's like, Jesus,
it reminds me of the
woman. What are you doing?
The Duran doing a live version of A View to a Kill. Have you seen that on YouTube?
No, I haven't.
You've seen that, Fraser.
But she did remind me of Minnie Driver in Goldeneye.
Well,
she sounded just like Minnie Driver in Goldeneye.
Who's strangling the Doja Cat?
Yeah, she's literally. I thought perhaps maybe she was referencing that scene, and this was deliberate.
Deep pool. Well, anything else from the Oscar? Whoa. Oh, okay. Adrien Brody won Best Actor. I know this isn't Bondian, but I thought it was worth mentioning because he kissed Halle Berry before going in. Did you see that? Oh, no, she kissed him as a retort for him trying it on 20 years ago on stage.
Oh,
did you see any of that?
I didn't see that. No.
So I think it was at the Oscars around about 20 years ago. Adrien Brody was presenting an award and Halle Berry won, and then he pretty much snogged her on stage as he gave her the award.
Oh my God.
And to get some payback, she then caught him on the red carpet and gave him a snog as well.
Really?
Yeah, and it was all very, oh, you're lovely. Oh, I love you. Yeah, you're lovely.
Okay.
So that was nice. And then he threw his chewing gum, didn't he, when he got
Oh,
up his
yeah.
own?
He acted like a dick.
But I just thought about this as well. He can get away with anything, Adrien Brody, because you know who he's going out with, don't you?
No.
He's going out with Harvey Weinstein's ex-wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God.
You could get away with fucking anything
Do what you like.
after that. Right? Can you imagine if she complained the next day and go, you shouldn't have thrown the chewing gum across the stage. Hey, bitch. That fucking guy raped about 100 women in his office. You're going to have a go at me for throwing chewing gum at you? Anyway, just a thought. Shall we crack on with minute 88?
I think
Rob?
we should.
Yes, minute 88 is brought to you by Propstore. Propstore I've got an auction coming up in March, actually. The Memorabilia Live auction. That starts on March the 26th. Goes on for a couple of days. I had a look at the lots already. Rob, they've got the Casino Royale Stunt Amiga watch.
Have they?
Yes! The one that he puts over his wrist at the end and clobbers that guy.
Are you going to bid on it?
Well, there's already actually one bid. I think there's someone that's put about a $4,500 bid. First bid.
Ooh.
Expected to get up to about 15,000. But we'll leave a link in the show notes. You can view the catalogue. There's other stuff as well, not just Bond stuff, but you can check that out. Propstore.com, the place to go. All right, so we are on. Oh, let me fucking get the minute up. What minute are we on, Rob?
88.
Thank you. Thanks for vamping. Here we go.
Check. Monsieur Bond.
There's Bond.
Bet.
Oh, he's bet.
500,000.
500,000 he's gone. Oh, Lashif is now scratching his temple. He had a quick smell of his fingers, actually. He's flipping the chips around in his hand.
Look. It's the tail. He's bluffing. Oh, my God. James was right.
Mathis has spotted something.
You.
Oh,
Raise. 1 million.
1 million. Oh, there's Felix. Oh, nailed it, Rob. Got it. Just. Well, we end with the screen. We do actually see the river, so that's that's the last shot. So we can actually tell you it is 2 kings, 2 kings, 2 jacks, 1 ace. That's the river. So, well, what were your takeaways from that minute, Rob?
Well, it's a very tense scene.
This is tense.
Yeah,
It's getting very tense.
I mean, the music is obviously tense, but it's like you were saying before from the commentary of Stuart Baird, the editor. I think I can't personally remember a card game that is as tense as this in Bond before. Because whenever we've seen Bond playing, it's more to do with the dialogue that's going on between him and whoever he's playing with. If it's Largo, or if it's Sylvia Trench, or if it's Tracy, these various people over the years he's been seen at the table with. We're not concentrating on the game. We're concentrating on, who's this person who's turned up at the table? Are they going to be important? And whereas this is very different, isn't it? And so I think it's quite hard for the filmmakers to keep the viewer's focus, because they could easily get bored, couldn't they? It's like, oh God, game of cards, that's a bit dull, isn't it?
Yeah.
And especially if you don't understand poker. Most people don't understand poker. So how are you going to keep...
We've got 2 of them in this room.
Yeah, exactly. So how are you going to keep people's interest and attention going? So they did it really well, I think, with and you said it earlier, with the way it's cutting from eyeball to eyeball, and they filmed from so many different angles, like crane shots, wide shots, close-ups, cards, hands, faces, and then he had so much material, more material than he needed to cut between, which he had to keep that tension going and to keep that story going, because there is no dialogue, is there? And you've got to do something to keep the interest of the viewer. So I thought that was interesting. And they do succeed, I think, in keeping our interest here.
I wonder if this is why you have some Bond fans, or fans in general, don't like Casino Royale.
Well, because they find this bit boring, possibly.
Because it's a protracted... I mean, it goes on for like a good third of the movie, this game. I mean... Well,
the book, it's a lot of the book, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's
it's like the main bit, isn't it?
Well, it is in the title, Casino Royale. I mean...
Yeah. And I think it is a little bit... If you're going to...
he explains the rules of Baccarat. Chemin de Fer. Fleming dedicates an entire chapter to explaining the rules.
Right.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, that's
that is a tough read.
That is.
That bit.
I remember that as a 12-year-old, and it nearly put me off reading the books.
Do you imagine like writing a Bond book now and like someone just cramming in the rules of Monopoly and like halfway through just going,
I can see Fraser's face here. He's a big fan of the books. He's like sitting there brooding in the corner. It's a brave thing to undertake. If you are adapting that book into a film to keep the viewer's attention. I think you've got to do it right. And the other thing, of course, which they talk about on the audio commentary, well, Debbie McWilliams, the casting manager, talks about, is that they were deciding whether to have actors who could play poker or poker players who could act, and they couldn't find either. And in the end, they just found interesting-looking actors and had to teach them how to play poker so they looked convincing, because they wanted it to look convincing. They didn't want it to look like they didn't know what they were doing. And they literally spent all day, all night, sat around there playing poker, learning poker. And in the end, they got really good at it and they loved it, which I thought was interesting.
So reading the Taschen book, they say Michael G. Wilson was good at poker. And he was teaching everyone how to play poker. And in fact, it was in this scene, or the one where I think this scene where he loses this hand was an actual hand that one of the writers, Neil, is it Neil Purvis?
Yes, Neil Purvis.
Yeah, he lost that hand by having what Craig had in his hand at that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Pretty sure that's it. It's in the Taschen book. I'll look it up later. But that's, so they were playing out lots of poker. Mickey G. Wilson was like the black belt of cards at the time, and showing Daniel Craig, who didn't know. And I think Daniel Craig was the worst poker player, but then cleaned out Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think that's the story.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And also in the background here, you have Mathis and Vesper.
And haven't we lost 2 people round the table? I think we have. We've lost 2 players from earlier on.
Rob.
Yeah. There was like a man that I'm sure that we've lost 2 guys, because there was a man who was sat between Le Chiffre and Felix, who has now disappeared.
Yeah. Ooh.
He has disappeared. And there was another guy sat next to the croupier who's also disappeared.
Well, it makes sense. They've been playing for 4 days.
Yeah.
Someone's got
so they've I guess they've lost all their money and they've gone now. So
I do like Mathis in the background doing the exposition for the audience. Like, oh my God, there it is, the tell. Do you see it, audience? He's scratching his temple. And Vesper's like, what are you doing? He was right. He's bluffing, everybody.
that's very good.
Bond must be going, shut the fuck up. Everyone can hear you. Everyone can fucking tell you. I told you about the...
Oh, it's hilarious.
So I just thought that's for the audience, isn't it?
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah, did you have any other takeaways from that?
Well, only that... So... The chips. This is actually the best shot of the chips when Mads does his things. He's flipping the chips back and forth, rotating them back. And
he's very good at that.
Yeah.
Whether it is actually Mads' fingers or not, it might not be.
Might be his stunt, his hand double. But if you freeze frame, these chips are beautiful. And it's weird how when people buy props and screen use stuff, how much these chips go for. I still can't quite wrap my head why these chips are worth more than suits or sometimes even watches.
Really?
Yeah, no, these chips.
You think they'd be...
Do you know anything about that, Fraser?
You think they'd be the cheapest?
No, not really, although I have got a couple of License to Kill ones, which...
Ooh, License to Kill ones he's got.
Expensive, but now are horrendous. So,
good little investment for you there.
So these are like they get a really good close up of these chips. So I don't know. I just quite like that. And of course it's got the logo, the film, everything else on it. So those were some of my takeaways. Rabbit.
Jolly good.
I think that's probably about it. Shall we get to just some thank yous and outros and whatnot before we jump on the Patreon?
Sure thing.
Okay, just a couple of thank yous. We have... Well, let's thank Fraser, everyone, for sitting through that. Jesus Christ. We'll get you on in a minute. But I mean, when Rob said I'm bringing Fraser around, I said, oh, that's great, but he's going to have to sit here and listen to us talk shit. So we got
bobbins for an hour.
Yeah, poor fella. God, you must be starving as well, you guys. I'm starving. Well, listen, Jean-Pierre Saunier, he bought a map, the London Bond map. So thank you, Jean-Pierre. Clive Pierce, you also bought a map, so you get a thank you from him.
Oh, thank you, 007.
Great. So we'll do some listener mail. We'll do some more Bond stuff, a weather report, and we'll do all that. Come and join us on Patreon. We'll put a link in the show notes. Until next time.
Bye-bye.